The U.S. House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, visited Taiwan. For the first time in 25 years, China, however, was upset, and issued threats as a result of this visit, which was part of a multi-stop Asian trip. China expressed its fury by launching a military operation in the areas seized, recalling the U.S. ambassador to Beijing, and blocking various shipments of Taiwanese agricultural products. As retaliation for the island country hosting the American, China is waging a frantic propaganda war, both domestically and internationally, and has placed a number of economic restrictions. While Wang Yi flits about the neighborhood, seeking support for his nation's injured One China concept, India is keeping a careful eye on the situation. Why is China angry on Pelosi's visit? Pelosi's trip to Taiwan suggests that the US is in some way in favor of Taiwan's independence. China believes the visit will terribly undermine China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, gravely harm the foundation of China-US ties, and badly send the incorrect signal to Taiwan independence forces. What is the One China policy? It is a diplomatic recognition of China's stance that there is only one Chinese government. The United States recognizes and has formal connections with China rather than the island of Taiwan. India does not yet establish formal diplomatic relations with Taiwan, despite as it was one of the first non-communist nations to recognize Zedong's People's Republic of China in 1950 and adhering to the One China policy. However, for India, the One China policy governs not just Taiwan, but also Tibet. Why China is so obsessed with Hong Kong and Taiwan? Hong Kong and Taiwan are inextricably connected as two lively, prospering, capitalist, ethnically Chinese polities, whose residents enjoy far greater freedoms and a higher standard of living than Chinese people on the mainland. Hong Kongers and Taiwanese are well aware of Beijing's cruel persecution and refuse to take part in it. It makes sense for Taiwan's government to declare solidarity with Hong Kong's protests when the Hong Kong government proposed legislation permitting local police to send suspected criminals to the mainland China. The Chinese government regards Taiwan as a breakaway province that will eventually become a part of China. However, whether or not independence is ever officially declared, many Taiwanese regard their self-ruled island as an independent nation. Taiwan is the world's largest producer of electronic chips, which are used in practically every industry, including phones, computers, watches, gaming consoles, industrial equipment, vehicles, and aviation and fighter planes. Taiwan is situated at the confluence of the East China Sea, the South China Sea, and the Philippines Sea. It is very near to Okinawa, and is located southwest of the Japanese island chain. Taiwan has been a strategic island, as well as a source of rivalry between Japan and numerous Chinese dynasties for millennia. Anyone who rules the island gains a distinct advantage over its adversaries. If China takes control, it would project influence, not just in the Pacific, but also to Japan, the Philippines, and other ASEAN countries. How India is reconsidering its One China policy. There is considerable evidence that India is revising its One China policy by indicating a more assertive political stance toward Taiwan. In 2010, during the visit of former Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao to New Delhi, the Manmohan Singh government dropped its mention of the One China policy, and it was removed from a joint statement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for his swearing-in ceremony in 2014, invited the President of the Central Tibetan Administration, Lobsang Sangay, and Taiwan's ambassador, Chung Kwang Tien, delivering a subtle message to China. Prior to the arrival of the Chinese President Xi Jinping, India adopted a harsh stance. SUSHMA SWARAJ, the country's former Minister of External Affairs, stated, China should reaffirm a One India policy, before India can agree to a One China policy. She said, we shared their sentiments when they discussed the matter of Tibet and Taiwan with us. We thus want them to comprehend and respect our sensibilities, with reference to our Arunachal Pradesh. In 2020, two parliamentarians of the BJP, Meenakshi Lekhi and Rahul KASWAN, virtually attended the swearing-in ceremony of Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen. Outraged by the subtle support, the Chinese Communist Party regime has asked India to refrain from such acts. It was an unprecedented move by the Modi government. India also sent its condolences on the loss of Lee Teng-hui, a former president of Taiwan, who had bolstered democracy and insisted on treating the island as an independent entity, angering China. India described him as Mr. Democracy, signaling a more proactive political approach towards Taiwan. India has so far chosen to keep it studied quiet over the developing scenario. Given that India, unlike other nations in the area, has not brought up the One China policy since 2010, it is possible that New Delhi made the choice to withhold a remark on purpose in order to avoid controversy on a contentious subject between the US and China.